Hello and welcome back to Media Snack, live from New York.
Greetings from London.
Okay, so a couple of episodes ago, we talked about some of the things that, as an advertiser, you want to get into the psychology of an agency when you're preparing for a pitch, just to really understand how to pitch it right to the agencies. And as we were talking about, agencies are becoming, rightly, much more discerning these days about the types of advertisers that they're willing to pitch for. They're having to prioritize their talent and their capabilities on certain pitches. And we gave you some advice. We'll link to this about how to do the best job you can to get the best engagement from agencies. Once the process is underway and you've got agencies participating, then you need to brief them. And so today we're going to talk about the best way to brief agencies to excite them with your pitch. And as usual, we'll give you 3 good tips to bear in mind if you're approaching that process, all coming up on today's Media Snack. Welcome to Media Snack, the live weekly show where we unpack the important questions that you will have about media, agencies, marketing, and more. If you're new to the channel, it's great to have you join us. Subscribe below to get alerts of all upcoming weekly episodes. Right then, question of the week.
Right, how will you excite agencies for your pitch?
Yeah. So as I mentioned in the intro there, the episode that we did a couple of weeks back was we unpacked what we thought were the 4 most important questions that agencies are asking themselves at the beginning of a pitch process where they're being invited to pitch. And one of the first question was, do we want to win this? Yeah. So let's assume that the answer to that is yes, and you have agencies interested. So then the next question that we talked about was, how do you win? Yeah. And that's really what we're going to focus on. So we're unpacking that particular question. How do we win? And that really focuses on the importance of creating for the agencies a sense of excitement and interest and intrigue. And for the advertiser, that's a great thing, because if agencies feel interested and excited by the proposition of your pitch, then maybe they're going to compete harder and you're going to have more competitive tension and you're just going to see the best that agencies can offer. And so often for us, our experience over the last 10 or more years running major pitches on behalf of advertisers is that we understand that it's the brief and the way you present that brief, which is often the most important part of the setup of a pitch. Yeah. And in another episode, we'll talk about actually what should go in the brief. So we'll come to that in terms of a written brief and what you should be sharing with an agency. But we'll start by what we call the all agency briefing. And that is a single meeting. Our advice to advertisers is always brief agencies at the same time. There will be opportunities subsequent to the all agency briefing where you get to meet agencies one-on-one and they can ask questions in a more confidential environment. But very important to conduct an agency briefing together for a number of reasons, and that's really what we're going to give you today. It's important because you only have to do it once. That's the one thing that's benefit for the advertisers. You do it once, so therefore do it really well. You're not having to have 3, 4, 5 meetings with different agencies and to kind of repeat, because inevitably the quality of that delivery is going to vary. So it's a good commitment from the advertiser to say, listen, we're going to do this one time, we're going to do it really well. Yeah. And it sets the tone. We find in our experience is that moment of all agency briefing is a really good experience typically, but it sets the tone for the whole rest of the process. So it's very important. A couple of other things that it delivers. We think it establishes like the integrity of the review. And the reason, and what we mean by that is that you have an opportunity to be consistent with all let's just say there are 4 agencies participating, or 3 at this stage, right? You're giving a consistent, clear message to all 3. And it says right from the outset, this is a level playing field. Everything is objective and we're going to be fair. And everybody gets the same brief. It's really clear. There's no nuances or different insights that you share with some agencies than others. As I said, there's subsequently Q&A, which is done on an agency by agency basis. But this is a moment in time, get everyone together. We used to do these face-to-face, and David, I think you're going to share some examples of some really interesting all agency briefing kind of activations that we've done. They turn into these little mini events.
Yeah.
Last couple of years they've been virtual, but we try and make them, and they work very well actually, even virtually. So you want agencies communicated at the same time. Very important. It's really an opportunity for you as an advertiser to really put on a show, right? This is the language that we use with the advertisers. You are on show. You are selling yourselves to the agencies as well. So you have an opportunity to talk about your business and the opportunity and some of the challenges and the role and importance for media in the business. It's also probably the first opportunity that most of the agencies have to really get to know you as stakeholders, your advertising team. So they want to see you, right? They want to meet you in person. They want to understand some of the dynamics, who's in charge, who are the decision makers. These are all important things. And we put a lot of effort into the all agency briefing, and we encourage advertisers to really commit to making that a great show, because it also sets the bar in terms of quality. If you deliver a really good quality brief, that's easy to understand, very nicely designed and laid out, then you're setting an expectation for agencies. And we find that they actually meet or exceed those expectations because they come back with equally good quality materials. The other final kind of thing that I'll touch on just in terms of the all agency briefing, and this is what I think one of its greatest powers, is that because it's a single meeting, we can get very senior client leadership involved. And so more often than not, I think every all agency briefing that we've done for years now has had senior leadership involved, senior marketing leadership, CMO, business presidents, even company CEOs involved, which is actually becoming increasingly common, which is great to see. Because not only does that show, send a good message to the agencies, it shows the rising importance of media as an investment on that corporate agenda that we talk about quite a lot. And if you have a CEO coming to deliver part of the briefing to an agency, it shows you what media means to that business and to that CEO. And it tells the agency that this is not a project that is caught within some division of a business. It's not just something that's one division or group of marketers or group of procurement or somebody is just coming up with this idea or pitch. It has alignment and a mandate right to the very top. And that's a very, very important message to the agencies, but it's an important message for media. We should all be pleased that we're getting increased C-level, C-suite participation in these things. And the final thing is that there's no hiding place in an all agency briefing. So what you present as an advertiser is the view of the company.
That's right.
Which is really, really, again, really, really valuable. So these things are great. We love designing these. It's a really good way of kind of dramatizing the brief, bringing it to life, showing a united front and kind of energizing and inspiring the agency. So we love that. So David, over to you. So for anyone who's in pitch planning mindset, trying to think about how to do this, what typically would be our tips to get the best out of these briefings?
So I've got 3 tips, and based on kind of our observations of having managed dozens of these kind of all agency briefings, and they are singularly my most favorite part of the entire pitch process. It gets the adrenaline going. It's a real show if you get it right, and you leave and you can just sense the desire and the anticipation of what is about to go ahead within the kind of process if you get it right. So the 3 observations, the 3 kind of key tips that I've got. The first one, try and do it face to face if you can. I know that it's been difficult in the last year or so, but if possible, a face-to-face all agency briefing is critical. Make sure that the environment that you're conducting this all agency briefing in is inspiring. Okay, it doesn't have to be within one of your basement boardrooms without any windows, right? Try and make it
save that for negotiation.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But we've done many off-site, right? I mean, you conducted one at the Yankee Stadium, right, in New York. I've done one at Stamford Bridge football stadium here in London. I did one for a well-known chocolate manufacturer in their flagship store in central London, where they piped in the smell of chocolate. Bizarrely enough, it was just brilliant. But it allows the agent to feel a bit more inspired, a bit more energized about it. And if you can link that location with a theme of the all agency briefing, then even better. But, you know, don't underestimate the environment to bring that all agency briefing to life. So invest time in that. Yeah. The second is, and you mentioned that as part of your kind of intro, is do your very best to bring together the most senior stakeholders within the organization. If you can get the CMO or the CEO even, or the chief operating officer to talk in a lucid, articulate way about the power, the vision for media that they have, then it works. It really is empowering. And the agencies just lean into that. It can be the difference between you being a priority pitch and perhaps getting kind of the B or C teams from the agency. So make sure you do your very best to get the most senior stakeholders, and also craft the narrative really carefully. In one all agency briefing, the CMO, who was an incredibly articulate and charismatic character, decided to give the closing statement to his CPO, his chief procurement officer. And I was slightly anxious about, you know, all of the good that had happened in the previous kind of 45 minutes or an hour being undone by this procurement person, perhaps talking about, you know, the cost of media or the discounts or the expectations around efficiencies that they were looking for. Yet this CPO stood up and delivered the most brilliant closing narrative, talking about media being a lever for growth and how they wanted to sort of see real kind of engagement from the agencies because they truly valued that kind of partnership. It couldn't have worked better. But making sure that that narrative is consistent takes effort. And that's really important. And then the third thing is engineer enough space and time to build a cultural connection. You know, within the agencies participating, there's probably only going to be one agency that knows you very well, your incumbent agency. For the other participating agencies, this is their first time to begin to build a connection and a relationship with you. So engineer enough moments within the session to allow coffee breaks, to allow a human interaction so that the agencies can begin to get to know your stakeholders better. Those are my three tips.
Yeah, very good, very good. And we tend to find as well is that with senior leadership present from the advertiser side, I think we've probably seen more senior leadership attend these briefings from the agency side as well. And that's a really good thing for the advertiser to see. You know, they want to see the leadership. And that, honestly, that's probably been easier since we've been had to do the virtual agency briefings because, you know, the agency CEO can attend for an hour or so. But that's good. You know, it's reassuring on both sides that this is, and as it should be, media has a lot of money at stake. And if it's done well, it's a great value creator. And if it's done badly, it's just a huge drain in value. And so much money changes hands between the advertiser and the agency that it needs real senior leadership and governance. And this is a really good way to demonstrate to everybody that that's taking place. So that's good. I know you love the all agency briefings, and it's not just because they take place in different sporting venues around the world. That could be one of the reasons. But we've done them in museums, haven't we? We've done them in all kinds of interesting places. So anyway, that's really good. If you've got comments or thoughts on that, if you've been through an agency briefing, you've experienced it, or you've got suggestions for the next sporting venue for David to go investigate, then please let us know in the comments below. We love hearing your feedback. Please subscribe to be alerted of future episodes, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for much.
Bye for now.
Media Snack is brought to you each week by ID Comms, the award-winning growth consultancy specializing in media. We help advertisers on a life cycle to growth in 3 service areas: operations, partnerships, and optimization that transform your media investments into real company growth. Whether you're planning an agency pitch, upgrading your media organization, want to learn new best practice, or simply get better performance from your media investments, you can find out more at idcomms.com/growth.